Here we go. We're going backwards. Oh no. Out the driveway we go. What are we doing? What are we doing? We have nothing coming. That would be cool. Taking a video of me blowing up. Neighbors. Working on the porch. Oh yeah. These Toyotas, they win on the seatbelt business. In other words, they'll annoy you until you do it. Well, what are we doing? Okay, got to make that light. Don't you do it. I wish you could have seen that. He almost run that light. Anyway, I almost did too. I had yellow. He had red. Anyway. So what are we doing? I am on the way right now to Audio Advice, where they are having in Raleigh, by the way, and they are having a Martin Logan event. Martin Logan is putting out a set of speakers for their 2023 lineup, and it is, by the way, the 11th, I believe, yeah, the 11th of February. And we're going to go to this event. Number one, I really just want to network, get to know people. This is where I got my Anthem amplifier a month ago today, I think. And in any case, a couple of the guys mentioned that they like beer. So what I'm doing is, there's a local brewery here in Mount Olive, where I'm from, Mount Olive, North Carolina. R&R Brewery. How about that? Say that 3 times fast. So they're having a big chili cook-off day here, so they're open a little bit early. And Dom's a buddy of mine, and he's going to hook me up on some beer to take to the guys at Audio Advice. So anyway, let's see here. It's a busy little side street. My, what we call potato patch cousin, he owns this business. Good people. Definitely small business, but getting bigger. And the first brewery in Wayne County, North Carolina. So anyway, let's finish this later. Well, here we go. We're going to hear the Google Maps guidance, a few things like that. And I don't intend to make these very long. But anyway, so we're on the way. We got the beer. We're heading to Audio Advice, where David, and I think his name is Corey. I hope I got that right. But they wanted beer, so we're going to do beer. I got them some good beers, you could see. And so it is what it is. So when we get up there, what the deal was is, I was talking to David on the phone, and I was telling him my story about just my drama, my 2 or 3 days drama with getting the Freya Plus in, and having a Crown amp that came in the box bad. So the next day, I drive up to a pawn shop. I'm getting desperate here, right? I'm getting desperate. So I drive up to a pawn shop. I'm telling Dave all this stuff. That's why I'm going through this. But I drive up to a pawn shop in Goldsboro, and I'm like, I need a 2-channel amplifier. Right there is a SoundStream. I can't remember the DS-1 or something like that. So anyway, I didn't even know SoundStream made amplifiers. Had no idea. So, very impressed. I mean, in the 90s, when I was a kid and cramming all sorts of expensive audio gear in a Trans Am, buddy, let me tell you something. If I could afford it, SoundStream would have been in there, and Rockford Fosgate and Alpine would have been out. Of course, Alpine make great head units, but nothing unless you got exorbitantly expensive, nothing was better than SoundStream. I mean, that was just creme de la creme there for you Frenchies. So essentially, I get up there, they got a SoundStream, it's 200 watts, or was it 200 watts at 8 ohms a channel? It's just a straight 2-channel amplifier, nothing complicated. I got on the internet, found a bunch of information, and I was like, oh, this is a very simple amplifier. If something's wrong with it, then it's something simple, generally speaking. Or if there's nothing wrong with it, I mean, in my mind, whether it worked or not, I was going to bring it home. They didn't have anything I could hook it up to see if it worked. So I took it home. It did not work. It did not work at all. And I turned around, I shot back up there and got my money back, and I went to Chick-fil-A, and I'm telling David all this again. So I get to Chick-fil-A, and I just got my head in my hands, and I'm just like almost in tears, just aggravated. And I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person, I'm a type A guy. I want to solve a problem, and when I've got one problem right after another, one problem climbing on top of problems, and one door slammed in my face right after another, I get frustrated to the point where I'm going to overcome it. And I have learned through the years, hey, you don't overcome problems by throwing money at it, normally. But sometimes you do. So, look, the Crown amp, I had never even opened it. I had it for 6 months in the box. I had heard that a lot of guys with La Scalas would use these in monoblock and run 2 La Scalas. So I was like, well, if they're using this Crown amp, it's a D75, by the way. If they're using this amp, then I'm going to use this amp just to get me by. I can get them for $150 all day long on Fleabay. Well, I buy one 6 months ago, 7 months ago now. It comes in, I just leave it in the box because I know eventually I'm getting a Freya Plus. I leave it in the box over in the corner. The wife has to ask me 2 or 3 times in 6 months, and what is that box again? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's an amplifier. It's just sitting there waiting for me to get a preamp. She's like, okay. So I get the preamp. I crack open the box on Saturday morning. That thing's dead as a doornail. So then I go through the whole SoundStream situation. Got a car slowing down. Got to think and concentrate here for a little bit. And maybe after this car, we can get some traveling done. What is it with Ford Rangers? Is Ford Ranger the new old man's pickup truck? Because people ride around 10 miles an hour below the speed limit in Ford Rangers. I don't know what in the world is up with that. So, anyway, looking at a cell phone tower. I work on cell phone towers in disaster recovery situations. So, anyway, back to the story with Dave. I'm telling him this story about this Crown amp and then this SoundStream amp. And then I'm at Chick-fil-A and I got I'm holding my head in my hands, man. I'm really just frustrated beyond measure. And I get on the phone with Dave and I'm like, look, after I told him the story, which I told him much quicker than I just told you, I said, look, I need either a 2-channel, not either. I need a 2-channel amplifier, nothing fancy. It could be 25 watts a channel. I don't care what it is. I need a 2-channel amplifier. I would prefer it to be used or open box or whatever. I'm not going to be picky. I just want a freaking amplifier that works. And if you got something that's been traded in recently, I would almost prefer that because I know you guys have gone through it. I can get more for my money, more bang for my buck. He says, we've got something that I'm going to have to find it. And so the whole time I was talking, he was pulling his stuff on the computer in their office. And he's like, how far are you away? And I said, I'm an hour and a half. He said, well, can you get up here today? And this is like noon, 11:30, somewhere in that ballpark. And I'm like, yeah, I'll strike out right now. Yes, sir. It's about an hour and a half. He said, well, are you familiar with Anthem? Yes, I'm familiar with Anthem. He said, well, we've got one that was used in the show. It's an open box. And it's probably about a $1,700-$1,800 amplifier. And I can get that in your budget, because I told him my budget and it was very low. And I said to him, look, man, I really appreciate that, but I mean, I just can't swallow that. I know that it's not going to be in my budget. He said, look, I'm telling you, get on the way up here. I'll get it in your budget. I'm like, okay. And they had used this at the Audio Advice show. And I get up there. That was back in August. And I get up there. And they can't find it. They had spent off and on for an hour and a half, because they had customers coming in and out. They had spent an hour and a half dilly-dallying around the basement trying to find this thing. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, and I keep glancing over there because I'm looking at my iPad, which is showing me what this looks like. But anyway, I get up there and they're like, we can't find it. We're going to keep looking, you know. And I got a customer here, and look, man, this is North Raleigh. These customers are not Joe Blows like me. These are people putting in $30,000 home stereos and home theater systems and so on and so on. You can look at them. These people are doctors and lawyers and different types of professional people. You can just look at them and see it, and the way they talk and the way they act and everything. And real nice people, I mean, but just different class of customers. I'm like, dude, you deal with your customers. That's where the food's on the table. I get it. So off and on over the next hour and a half, so we're 3 hours deep into this, including travel time. And they got another guy. His name's Corey. Great young man, probably 25-ish. Great kid. And he's going up and down the stairs and looking at the database and everything. He can't find that amp. They finally come to me, and he said, look, and by the way, this whole time I'm like going from room to room in Audio Advice, just playing with the toys and loving it too. Didn't bother me. And he said, look, we don't have it. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm like, oh God, I'm just going to go home with my tail tucked between my legs. No problem. We don't have it. So there it is. Okay. Then he said, but we do have something that I know you're going to like. It was in the show as well. It's an open box. And you're going to like it. But it is more money. And I'm like, wait a minute. Guys, I've been spending money like water here recently. I've been spending money like Barry White at a strip club. I'm telling you, putting money down. And here the past 6 weeks or so, I just can't afford it. I can't afford to go above my budget on this. And they said, we're going to make it work. And I said, impossible. And then the next thing you know, they're like, okay, give us a little time. And I'm like, okay, they're going to go back and find me something else. No, that's not what they did. They went downstairs and brought the thing up. It's in the double box. It's sitting there. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm going to say, I think I want to pass somebody. Yes, I do. Let's pass. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's sitting in the middle of the floor, and I'm like, come on, man. I can't afford that thing. It's $2,300. It's an MCA 225 225 watts a channel times 2 into 8 ohms, and 600 watts a channel into 4 ohms. And like I'll ever get a 4 ohm speaker, I don't think I will. But this is out of my class. I mean, this is North Raleigh stuff, not Wayne County, North Carolina. And they get a big laugh out of that, and we're talking, and he's like, we're going to make it work. And I'm like, okay. So we started working on it and everything. Look, at the end of the day, this is stuff that's been sitting in the basement for 6 months. It's an open box. They can't sell it for retail because it's an open box. It's ran 2 days at a show, maybe 3 days tops, a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at a show, and then put in a box and put it in a basement, period. End of story on that. But it's used. It's basically used. But the warranty's still intact, full warranty. And I brought that thing home. And I did move up. I realized what was going on. I realized the opportunity. I'll never forget Dave saying, the last words he said before he walked out of the room and let Corey deal with me was, that amplifier is all you will ever need in your lifetime. And I think he's probably right. Think about it. A set of clips, Cornwalls, are rated at 100 watts. This thing is 225 a channel. So it's my new reference amplifier. And what I mean by that is I'm going to buy more amplifiers. I'm going to hopefully review some amplifiers, but I fully intend to buy some amplifiers and do some comparisons, and using the Anthem as a reference, as something to start the comparison with anytime you're talking about a different set. It's crystal clear, it's beautiful, it is sleek looking, it really is. No nonsense design and everything as far as the beauty and all. It's nothing. I mean, there's a power switch, and it's so simple, and that's what I want in an amplifier. I don't want 100 buttons and 100 knobs. I just want a power switch. So anyway, that's my story on the Anthem. No, I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it, because nobody needs to be walking in audio advice and say, give me the deal you gave Wilson. So anyway, I really wouldn't care if you knew how much, but I just don't want to put other people in a pickle, the guys at Audio Advice and everything. But they did a fantastic job helping me out, and I'm bringing them beer as a consolation prize. So anyway.